When you're going through an uncertain time in your life, the right support system makes all the difference, and so does the right outlook. Tammy Bolton has been there. She is a breast cancer survivor and has made it her mission to help other women facing that same fight. Tammy joins us this morning with that and more on her Pink Frog Foundation. Good morning, Tammy.
Good morning. Good morning.
I'm so glad you could be here with us this morning.
Thank you for inviting me.
Yeah, before we talk about your foundation, I want to know about your personal journey with breast cancer.
Well, I was 32 years old. I was diagnosed with inflammatory breast cancer. No prior history in my family. And it was just a shock to everyone. So I was diagnosed with stage 3 inflammatory breast cancer. And back then they didn't know a lot about inflammatory breast cancer. They knew that it was aggressive. And so I was treated aggressively. And what I mean by that is I had treatment first, and chemotherapy, and then surgery, and then I was sent to Johns Hopkins in Baltimore for further follow-up to see if there was a need for a stem cell transplant. And the doctors decided against that. And then I had more chemotherapy and 31 days of radiation.
And going through that chemotherapy process, I know at one point you were wondering if you were even going to be able to have children in the future.
Exactly. I was told, because it takes your menstrual cycle away, and I was told that I may not be able to have kids. But God saw another plan, and I have a daughter, Micah Bolton, who will be 19 next week on the 30th. She's a sophomore at Agnes Scott College.
Well, congratulations to her, and happy birthday to her. Happy early birthday.
Thank you, thank you.
That is amazing. So, I mean, that's 22 years ago that this happened. I imagine it's still so fresh in your mind like it happened yesterday. What is the first thought that goes through your brain when you get this diagnosis, when you hear those words?
Well, for me, for some reason I felt like it wasn't a diagnosis to the end.
Right.
However, I did ask my doctor, so how many people survived this diagnosis? And he said about 40%. So I just felt like
you're going to be that 40%
that's going to survive. Exactly.
And it does take the right attitude.
Yes, and I think a lot of it, you have to get in your mind and have the right attitude and be positive, about the diagnosis. And I think that would take you a little bit further along.
Right. And so before you started the Pink Frog Foundation, and we'll talk about this in just a moment, you're going through all of this and you're able to reflect on it now. What do you look back on and think, gosh, I really could have used some help with that?
Well, actually, that was part of my reason for starting the foundation, was because I had help. I had, family members that would come and help get me to the doctor's appointments, would come clean my home. I have a half brother that his mother actually cooked a meal. I was off work for 11 months, and she cooked a meal for 11 months. Every week she would bring us a meal. And so, in 2012 I was thinking, I need to do something to give back. I think God healed us for a reason, to help others. And there are a lot of people out there that don't have the help that I had. So that was one of the reasons for starting the foundation.
And so what does the foundation do?
We support breast cancer patients with meal service, maid service, and transportation. So we send a Kroger gift card monthly, we send a maid monthly, and transportation is as needed.
And that's wonderful, because when you're not dealing with something like this, those are little tasks you can take for granted. But when you're fighting for your life, that becomes a huge burden to take on yourself.
It becomes a huge burden. We actually had someone, a recipient, to tell me that before we sent maid service, she was trying to clean her bathtub with a towel in her foot.
Oh my gosh. That is why that's so important.
Yes.
I'm curious about the name. What's the inspiration for Pink Frog?
Well, pink, because breast cancer, and frog, fully relying on God.
Perfect. I love that.
Thank you.
Pink Frog Foundation. Is there something that you would want to tell someone who has just recently been diagnosed, what you would want them to know going into this?
I would want them to know to stay positive, always.
Right.
Because I am a Bible believer. I feel that they should get a testimony in their heart, a song in their heart, and a scripture, a healing scripture that they can look into every day, learn it, and quote every day, continue to stay positive regardless of what the doctor says, regardless of what you feel like or look like. Just stay positive, and I feel like that will help your outcome.
That's half the battle, perhaps.
Exactly.
All right, Tammy Bolton, thank you so much for sharing your story. We really do
you.
appreciate it. Again, the Pink Frog Foundation offers buddy support, a maid service, nutrition service, and transportation to patients undergoing treatment. If you'd like to help out or learn more about the Pink Frog Foundation, we've got more on fox5atlanta.com under the Good Day section.